the next day.
Yeah, exactly. It's impossible to time there.
Yeah, I talked to a friend of mine in New Hampshire this morning, and they had 8 inches, and it was supposed to continue to snow until maybe even as late as midnight tonight. She was happy.
School days.
I'm
We're
looking at our
already
crew.
in
Go ahead.
summer mode down here.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like, yeah, as a kid, like, okay, definitely getting today off. This is amazing.
Had one snow day off in my life when it snowed in South Florida in 1978. It snowed for 5 minutes. They closed the whole town down.
Right. Panic said it.
All right. I think it's time. You want to turn on the recording, please?
All right, give me just 1 second.
Certainly. Welcome to all of our outstanding agents and investors from across the country. Today is Thursday, April 4th, 2024, and this is All the Leads Mastermind podcast number 474. I'll turn it over to our illustrious CEO and master of ceremonies, Tim.
Dun, ta-da. I need music to go with that, I think. Hey, good to see everybody here. I appreciate everybody hopping in early and kind of getting going. I just want to say straight up, because I always sort of forget to say this sometimes, this call is for you, not just for us to sit here and, orate about things and talk. Simply raise your hand and we'll be happy to call on you and delighted to take any questions you have, observations you have. We'd love it to hear about any wins that you have, anything that are going on in your market that are unique that you find, and any great ideas that you have that you'd like to share with other people. So those are things that we really want to hear, and that's kind of the real theme of it. When we don't have a lot of questions, we always have kind of a topic now that we're working on, and this week we're going to talk about team building and kind of what that means to you and how to assemble the appropriate team to effectively grow your business. And it's a team that not only can help you represent yourself well to the people that you're attempting to work with, but also it represents opportunities for you to help defray some of your marketing costs, to grow your reach, to build a sphere of influence well past just the normal things that you can do and pay money to go do. It's the organic side of your business as well that matters. So we've kind of prepped everybody to talk about that a little bit. And I'm going to start with Bruce and let Bruce respond a little bit. Bruce, let's talk about team building a little bit and, kind of how that's worked for you, what it means to you, and what you think are maybe the most important elements of that, just as a discussion point. And as Bruce does that, please raise your hands and let's hear from you. We'd like to hear from you before the end of the call. Typically, right at the end of the call, we got 3 hands up, and it's at the top of the hour, and we don't want to leave people hanging. Bruce.
Right. I am just going to parrot that. We do want to hear the questions. We are talking about team building, but these calls tend to segue into lots and lots of other topics. So I don't want anyone to think that just because we're opening by talking about team building, that you can't bring other probate or lead or deal related questions up. We'll see where the call goes, but let's kind of get started. I think that the biggest thing when I think of a team and why to assemble a team, number one, I am not exclusively or specifically talking about assembling your traditional real estate team with you as the listing agent, buyer's agents, callers, transaction coordinators, showing assistants. All that goes into this, but we're primarily discussing your need to build out kind of a vendor team, a team of support professionals who you can help them in their business and they can help you in your business. Why do we want to do this? The biggest reason is because it makes you different. First thing that I do when I go into any kind of a new market is I look at the competition. Okay, so you're an agent. You look around and you realize that in the US there's over 1 million active real estate agents. You're an investor. I don't even know what the ratios and the statistics are on investors. It's a lot. Okay, you look at your competition and you say, what are they doing? And then you go build something that is different and better, or more appealing to your customer than what they're offering. So you offer kind of bigger, faster, stronger type of solutions and services to your clients, to your customers. You want to either offer them more money or offer them more services or offer them an easier transaction. And I always wonder why agents steer away from being able to do this. And it really typically comes down to time. So if I go to someone that's going through probate and I say, hey, you want to work with me as opposed to any other investor, any other agent that might be talking to you, you want to work with me because I'll take care of the probate process for you. Okay. I'll cut the grass. I'll help you clean the house out. I'll help you coordinate an estate sale. I'll change the locks. I'll bring an antiques appraiser in. Okay. All these different things. And people that I talk to every day say, I don't have time for this. And it's absolutely true. Okay. It's true. If you do have time for it, you don't have enough business. Okay. So, what do you do to still be able to offer those services and those solutions that are really appealing and help separate you if you are limited or plan to be limited on your time? You build a team and you begin to play linchpin. You coordinate. Maybe even you hire a concierge that can coordinate. Me and my business, I have a concierge who has a third-party business, and I'll go into a house. Sometimes she comes with me on the appointment. Sometimes she doesn't, but I go in and I make notes of everything that I promised the seller. And at the end of that appointment, I send the concierge those notes. Guess who calls the locksmith, the HVAC technician, the roofer, the painter? Not me. She does that. I pay her a little fee to coordinate everything that I promised. Okay, so you build a team so that you can offer and promise more solutions than your competitors are willing to provide. Now, if you have all the time in the world and you want to quarterback all those things yourself, great, go for it. But if you're doing a good job of building your business, that's not going to last very long. Okay, you're going to quickly need to leverage your time to where you're focused on getting more business. Okay, so that's why you need a team. You need people that you can hand off to. You need people that set up and offer and provide the solutions that we're talking about here that your competitors simply aren't providing. All right, Tim, you sleeping? Was that good? What do you think?
You did good, Bruce. You did good. So talk a little bit, and Ken, I'll poke at you a little bit. When you're talking to your potential customers that you're dealing with, how do you kind of phrase some of your conversations that you're having to determine what the people that you've already assembled, let's assume you built your team, what are some of the questions that you're asking that are going to allow you to display your team, to basically show your value? How do you lead into that?
Yeah, definitely. To me, that's point number two. To me, it's a 4-step process. Call, build rapport. Step number 2, I like to say it's my elevator pitch or my offer. And then I just hit everything. I basically say, hey, I have a full team that can help you with everything probate real estate. It's making probate easy. Some of the things that we do, but not limited to, is helping you set up estate planning sales with our estate planning team. If you have items that you need to sell out of the property, we can help you do repairs from A to Z, carpet, paint, plumbing, roofing, whatever you need. I have some of the best, most reliable contractors. I've been building my list for 17 years since I started in real estate here in Las Vegas. We can help you get items trashed out of the home, because I know a lot of people, when they get older, start hoarding items out of properties. I put cameras into my houses because many of these homes, if they're vacant for an extended period of time, they can get broken into. And, once I started putting cameras in, that's eliminated that problem to a drastic extent. We can get you cash advance. all the way down the line to getting a cash offer or helping you sell on the resale market, depending on what the condition of the property. And then at that point, I would ask, hey, have you thought about what you're going to do with the property? Are you thinking about moving into it, renting it out, or are you thinking about getting it sold? Once I have an affirmative, we're getting it sold, then I go, is there anything that's keeping you up at night that you need to take care of that you haven't addressed yet? Maybe something I mentioned, or maybe it's something else. But, anything you could possibly need, we can take care of it. But I try to hit a wide range of things that they might need. Because again, I'm just trying to hit the bullseye or playing doctor, like where does it hurt? What do you need? And get them to open up, because I feel like there's a much higher probability if I mention something that they need, it's going to ring true, and then they're going to go, oh, that's right. Even back to the conversation when we're building rapport, they tell me something about their mom, and I basically echo it back to them, and I want to get, oh, that's right, yeah, my mom was like that, or my dad was like that. So it's almost the same thing with the offer. I'm trying to get a that's right. Oh, yes, I need that.
Okay. Hey, Bruce, I want to come back to you for a second. You mentioned, having somebody who does the work for you, the concierge, the person you hand this stuff off to get this done. And a couple of people have kind of asked, how do we go about finding that person? Is that a VA? Is that is that an employee? How do you look at that?
Yeah. Could be three different people. It could be a transaction coordinator. So maybe you have a VA that's a transaction coordinator in-house. Maybe they do these things. They need your list first. They need your team, and they need to understand how to coordinate these. I like it to be boots on the ground personally, because I don't necessarily have the time or want to go meet everyone at the house. So I'd like someone local to be able to do this. But it could be a transaction coordinator. The easiest way, if it's not going to be a person on your team, so that's on your, let's say, payroll, the easiest way to do it is to go Google concierge service in your area. So I am just scanning. So Arrington, Chris Walters is in Massachusetts. So Chris would Google concierge service in Massachusetts, and that's the easiest way. You're not always going to find what you're looking for by doing that, because sometimes these people are kind of hidden from you. They exist, but sometimes they're hidden. Sometimes they have no idea that us in the real estate business would even be a client for them. A lot of times they might be providing errand services to shut-ins or busy professionals, mostly shut-ins, by the way. So these folks exist in every different area. It's just a lot of times they don't know that they should be promoting their business to us. So we have to find them. So errand runner, task manager, shut-in services, things like that. If concierge doesn't pop up on your Google search, go look for someone that's providing something to another niche. And a lot of times it's the elderly niche. It's someone providing something to the elderly, who, by the way, that is an industry, that is an area that touches probate very, very closely. A lot of you guys are doing more than just probate. You're working with the nursing homes and the assisted living places. So these work together. But I'm gonna go look for that. If I still can't find anyone, there's a business here. I know most of you guys are focused, and I encourage you to be focused on the real estate business and not spread yourself too thin. But if you can't find anyone in your area, guess what? You got a business here that no one else is marketing and nobody else is providing. And you could either help someone else launch a business, or you could launch one yourself if you can't find anyone. But I think you could find someone.
Another thing that I've seen used a lot, and it seems to be where these kind of folks hop in and out. A lot of people are doing it as a side hustle. They've got some spare time, and there are people who, have made a business out of, in the evenings, they're doing DoorDash and doing deliveries. During the day, they're doing this kind of stuff. And a lot of those folks, you're going to find them in the gigs area on Craigslist in your local marketplace. Mm-hmm. People advertise for people to do it. And if you go on Craigslist, there's usually a, help wanted, and there's also an area for gigs. And people that are willing to do that or are looking for that, that's become an exchange area for that. And you're likely to find bodies there that are more than willing to do it. And you need to work with 2 or 3 of them to find someone to do it, and then build a relationship with that person. But that's an invaluable commodity. And it's just like, Bruce, I know that you've, spent time training VAs and doing that work. And part of this is training that person to do your work and making sure that you've got an adequate supply of things for them to do, so that when you need them, they're there. And
Mhm.
they're going to be quickly responsive to you because you pay on time, you pay well, you treat them well, and do all that sort of stuff. So that's a great place to go look for it. But once you do it, don't limit yourself to one of them. If you can, have a couple of them that you can move in and out as you grow your business, find out who's best at what. But that's a great place to start as well. The gigs area on Craigslist, I urge you to go look that. That's in anybody's marketplace. I mean, if you're in a tiny county, you may find less of that, but there are always people willing to do that. If you're in a place where there are restaurants and people are delivering, there are people who'd be willing to do this kind of work for you.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hey, one thing I did want to mention, and Bruce, maybe, I think you said maybe you don't do this, but Jim, did you?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I do try to get down and meet with them before I turned it over to anybody. I mean, I want to build that personal connection and let them know, like, hey, I'm always here, so I'm gonna put you in touch with this person, but I'm gonna be the backbone. I'm gonna be the person that you're always gonna come back to. Whatever happens, I'm responsible for it. So I'm always gonna be here for you, but I'm gonna turn you over to this person. In my case, it's usually a contractor. A house I have listed right now that we're waiting for the probate court. I mean, we needed to change out the carpet. We had to clean out the back and front yard as far as just trash in the yard, do some trimming of the palm trees and landscaping, but basically I just connected her with the contractor, had that all done. And now while we're waiting for the probate court, we're kind of keeping up on the security. I have a neighbor down there that's kind of watching the property. And we're just trying to keep an eye on it. Hey, and this is a pro tip for you guys. After inspections, if you have vacant homes, make sure that you call that inspector and tell them to close the front window blinds. Or if you have a contractor, close those blinds, because all these people, they don't understand about listing a vacant home. And they just go in there, they want some sunlight while they're doing their job, and they'll open the blinds up and they'll totally expose that home to anybody walking by to let them know it's vacant. And that's your job. They don't know. It's unfortunate that they don't know, but they don't. So you need to be on top of that and make sure those window blinds are closed to keep that home secure. And and let your client know that. That way they know you're really looking out for them. And everything I do, I kind of allude to my review at the end of the transaction, because that's, at the end of the day, I want to get paid, but the review to me is the icing on the cake.
Mhm.
Like, that's them saying, hey, thank you.
Jim, you kind of raised your hand there. Did you have something?
Oh, just a couple overall observations that are obvious, but we haven't mentioned. All of these contractors, all of these people you're going to refer people to, especially the estate sales and the nursing home, it should be a reciprocal relationship. If you're sending them business, make sure they realize that you're looking for business from them. The other overall point, I feel like every time we talk about this, it has a tendency to overwhelm some people. And I will tell you, in my own business, I would say 80 to 90% of the time when I was doing probates, none of the people needed any of these things. So to Bruce's point, the value of it is having it, and it makes you so different. It also, just being able to outline everything you have. One of my original mentors in the business told me, use the 180-degree theory, try to figure out what everybody else is doing and do the opposite. Mm-hmm. Everybody else is talking about me. You're just talking about, you, and how I can help you. So that's the value of it. And don't let it overwhelm you, and don't think you need to have all of these people instantly. I do have a quick story that I can share. If you do want to take this to the extreme, one of my best friends is my attorney. I've known him for 25 years. We coached our daughter's t-ball teams when they were 6 years old, and he's given me so much free legal advice over the years. But I knew he was looking to sell his house. He's actually licensed with my office. He came in one day and said, I hope you don't mind, but I listed my house with somebody who knocked on my door. And I said, Greg, you realize you're licensed with our office? I mean, I didn't care because I wasn't going to really take any of his commission anyway. But he said this guy knocked on his door knocking in the neighborhood, and I'm not ready to sell. I'm not ready to sell. And Craig said, the guy said, that's fine. Do you mind if I take a look through the house? And Craig said, it's probably going to be 3 to 6 months, and I'll be putting the home on the market. The guy walked through and said, oh, the inside looks great, but on the outside, I'd recommend a little landscaping. And for a $500,000 house, the driveway really doesn't look good. I'd resurface your driveway. And Craig said, oh, okay, thanks for the tip. And the guy said, do you mind if I take care of that for you? Craig said, no, that'd be fine. Craig came home from work the next day and it was already done. The guy sent a landscaper out there, and the guy resurfaced his driveway out of his own pocket. Now, that's really carried it to the extreme. But Craig said, of course, I went ahead, and then he came back a few days later. He said, I listed the house with him, told him I'm really not ready for a few months. Like 3 days later, he brought his own buyer by and double-ended it. So, I mean, you could take this from just having the people and never using them to really an all-inclusive concierge service like that. How could you say no after somebody delivers that kind of value? And what does it cost to resurface the driveway? A few $100s? I mean, it was money well spent. The guy earned the business in advance. So anyway, just wanted to share that story.
That probably
Providing that
garage-
value early is amazing. Sorry, Tim. Providing that value, giving those things away. I've gotten business by sending my landscaper over to cut people's grass for free, or sending my locksmith. If I feel pretty confident that that this is something I can win, I'm gonna invest in their lawn care or their lock change, things like that. Absolutely, I'll invest in that if I think that I've got a solid chance. And guess what? Sometimes I've lost, and
Yeah.
that's okay too. You provide a service. That's
And
okay.
Tim, I know you had a comment. One thing I left out, the guy told him he usually lists at 7% and gives 3%, but since he sold it himself, he only charged 5%.
Yeah.
And Craig would have gotten 3 back being listed with, but he didn't care. He didn't care. The value was so extraordinary, nothing else mattered.
Yeah, but I would say, yeah, I mean, just that's knowing your client, because that's the beauty of probate. I mean, some of these people, they're like 100% on selling. There's no question. Definitely putting this property on the market as soon as possible. So I'd want to hear that come from their mouths before I started, spending money. If they were like, we're not sure if we're going to move into it or rent it, or if we're going to sell it, then I might not want to, open up my wallet like that. But
the thing that we're all talking about here in this particular instance is high perceived value. I mean, Jim made the point that, it didn't cost the guy a lot to resurface the driveway. It absolutely didn't. The guy probably already has in his garage maybe, 10 5-gallon drums full of driveway resurfacing, and a guy that'll do it for $50 just come out with a brush and go, slap it on there and get it done. But the perceived value to Craig was tremendous. Same thing with the landscaping. Send somebody out to cut the grass. It's like, I've been needing to do that. I've been needing to do that. The next time they look at the house, it looks pretty nice. I wish I'd gotten that done. Didn't cost you a lot to do that. A couple of other great ideas that people have shared in the chat. We've got one person who says they go out and, kind of even camping on a little bit more even than Ken does. Ken drops a camera in there. They are using Simply Safe. They go through a quick little alarm system in there, and you don't have to put anything permanent in. That's one that you just put a box in, a break glass, and a couple of other things. You've alarmed the house. Doesn't cost you much to do it. You leave it in there, and you can get a full system for that for under a couple $100. Have a couple of them in your car, take it, and go out and put it in there. Anything that you can do to provide that opportunity for people that you look like a superstar, and it's just finding the right moment to offer those things to get it done and make it happen. Coley, I saw you got your hand up there, bud. I'm going to ask you to unmute. What can we do for you? Whoops. Where'd you go?
Coley?
Coley, raise your hand again. I see you. There you
Alright.
go.
Yeah, I'm in the building now. How's everybody?
Good.
So yeah, my question is, I had a client reach out to me, say he got my letter, interested in selling his property, but the big conflict is him and his brother are not on talking terms right now. And he's asking me, like, do you offer any type of mediation services? So I'm guessing my course of action is to see if he's willing to like give me his brother's contact information and try to make amends between the two. Or is there any type, he asked me, is there any type of service that offers some type of mediation for some type of familial conflict? So I just wanted to get your feedback regarding that.
Do you feel comfortable performing in that role?
Yeah, I'll take a shot for it. I can try.
Well, then I would guess you have that service to provide, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not being facetious. I mean,
Mhm.
golden opportunity, man. Of
Mhm.
course, that's something that you can do. And it's one of the things we've talked before about a value that you can provide. Family disputes are a great opportunity for someone outside to come in and help diffuse the situation. And if you think you can do that, you're certainly great to take the first shot at doing it. The only other thing I'd say is that if you can't get there, then one of the things you may need to do is do a little bit of research and look into local mediation services that you could potentially pull together. But let me ask you a question. Is the brother that you're talking to, is that the personal representative?
The brother I'm talking to, he is the administrator. So the father died without a will. His body's actually still at the morgue, and they're like, I just want to bury my dad. He's been there for 2 months. But my brother and me aren't talking, so it's hard to really move through the process. And then another challenge he brought up was like, I may have to pay this insurance bond. I don't know if I have the funds, so I'm planning to refer him to probate cash as well.
Okay, you're
Without a
gonna
will.
have an attorney.
Yeah, he has an attorney, but yeah, he has. You're right, Bruce. He doesn't have a will, though. That's the challenge.
Doesn't have a will, but what is the attorney that he's dealing with? What's the attorney doing? What role?
I'm not too sure. So I told the client I would call him within the next week to try to figure things out, aka consult with you guys, of course, and figure things out.
Well, you probably need to understand what the standing is of the attorney that's there. The reason I'm bringing it up is that if you're going to refer them to probate cash, one of the requirements is that there is an attorney involved in it. But the other challenge with running him to probate cash is that there's got to be a provable asset. They won't just do it if there's probate. There's got to be a legal, they have to have the ability to make sure they're going to get paid back, to get the advance paid back, even though it's not a loan and it's an advance. The attorney has to be able to represent the fact that one or more of the clients that they're representing, either the estate or an individual, has the ability that when that property gets sold, there's X amount of equity, there's X amount of dollars, and if they're going to advance, they're going to advance it against that value. So you've got to make sure the attorney's in place. That's a key element. Make sense?
Yeah, would you suggest that I touch base with the attorney and kind of collaborate with them and try to
Yeah,
figure things out?
I would. It's
Okay.
just it's just research. If nothing else, just, what have you done? And, the guy should tell you, well, yeah, I'm working with an attorney. What are you working with the attorney for? What are you asking him to do?
hmm
Right now, it doesn't sound like they've made any progress. They're trying to get their father buried and he's still at the morgue. I'm surprised that the state is allowing that to continue much longer anyway. So, I mean, there's some things that will weigh in on that pretty quickly, because most municipal governments have a fixed amount of time, literally before they take action with a body to, deal with it. And, unfortunately, they'll put them in what they call a pauper's grave, and they'll bury him, or they'll cremate him, depending on what their local ordinance is. Anyway, that's my thought on it. I think you've got a great opportunity to mediate. Your best option is to get them together, but you're still in a circumstance where somebody's got to get appointed as the personal representative to be able to settle the estate. And the fact that it didn't have a will, someone's going to have to petition to get that started. Bruce,
Well,
comment?
yeah. If he's the administrator, then they started a process that runs parallel with probate. Um, that's really comparable to probate. So he's already the administrator, it sounds like. And that just
I
means
thought he said he wasn't.
that there's no will. So he didn't apply for probate. He applied for letters of administration to open an estate. And from that point forward, it operates as though it's going through probate. So he's the administrator. Here would be my answer is, hey, I'm happy to help facilitate that. If at some point I recognize that keeping a good conversation going goes beyond my scope of expertise, I have people and I'll introduce you to someone that can help. Is that fair? Okay, get their commitment. Let them know that you're not over promising and taking something on that you guarantee you're going to solve. At that point, I'm just going to call the brother and have a conversation. But before I do, I want you to think of this quote. Okay, and the quote is, and I'm going to probably mess it up, so I'm looking for it. I see a bunch of different ways, but the quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions that you ask. Okay. And when that quote is used, it's often used to point to the questions that you ask yourself. And it's true. The quality of your life is directly impacted by the quality of the questions that you're willing to ask yourself. But I'm going to flip it over and point it to the questions you're willing to ask others. And I've heard a handful of things that have been asked of you that you're like, I'm not really sure. I came here to talk to you guys and find out, and I'm going to go back. That's great. Always use us as a resource. Okay. But I'm also going to challenge you to begin to practice digging deeper and exploring in your day-to-day relationships, because what I want to know is why there's a rift between him and his brother. He already opened up to you. The things that he gave you tells me that you have some rapport, you have some trust. I would have said, hey, if you don't mind me asking what happened, I guarantee this guy's probably going to talk about what happened. How long has this been? Okay, a week, a month, years? Did your brother and your father get along? Okay, I want to start digging in. You've got all these loose threads on this loosely woven sweater here, and I want you to start pulling on them and asking questions. And a lot of times in your asking of those questions and the answers that you're going to get, a really easy solution is going to come up that we're just guessing at right now. We're guessing that you're going to play mediator. We're guessing that the brother wants no involvement with the estate. We're guessing that the brother doesn't want to sell the house. But I would ask, do you think your brother wants to sell the house? No, I don't think so. Because right now we're kind of shooting at this target that we can't see. And if you don't get the answers that you want, then go to the brother and start having a conversation and see what kind of reception you get. I've dealt with this before, and instances where it was a sister who wouldn't talk to me. And I get it. I completely understand. The brother might not want to talk to you, but he might open up. I just want you to know a little bit more about what you're going into before you make the call to the brother. And the only way you're going to know more is by asking a few deeper questions when you have rapport with the administrator.
Also, Cole, is the house free and clear? Is there equity in the house? What's the house about?
I would have to double check about the equity in the home, but the brother did kind of disclose about what's going on in the situation. So essentially, they have two different moms, I think, and there was some rift about that the father had this other woman and gave birth to another son. So I think that's part of the problem. But I didn't have time to really delve deeper because he was at work. So we had about a 13-minute phone conversation. So I didn't get to dig as deep as I wanted to, but he disclosed that without me even kind of asking about it.
Well, you definitely need to know as much as you can about the house itself, because you also need to be aware of how much money is involved. And, if you can have that conversation and the house is free and clear and it's worth $200,000 or whatever it is, how much money you're talking about in terms of the potential proceeds. And, that's one of the things that will be part of your conversation, assuming you get into it. What Bruce is saying is correct. The more you learn, the more you're going to know, and the better you're able to do this. And you just need to ask a lot of great questions.
Yeah. I like what Bruce said. I mean, I call it getting into the operating system or finding out what makes somebody tick. I mean, if you guys are not doing that, then you're just getting lucky. Because maybe you call somebody on the day they decide they need to get something done and you get lucky and you just happen to be there at the right time. But when you can get it consistently, get into somebody's operating system, really figure out, what the relationship was with the person they lost, their family members, what makes them tick, what they're going to do with the money when they sell the property. Like now you have a real relationship. And like, I think that's everything. I mean, each deal is going to have its own individual numbers. And of course, that's important. And you got to call the brother and see if he wants to sell. Absolutely important. But the most important thing is, like Bruce said, ask the questions that nobody else is going to ask, to go deeper into the relationship than anybody else is going to go. And that will get you deals on a consistent basis. So I just want to make sure that was heard properly.
And I'm going to say one more thing real quick. So, asking questions does not come naturally for everybody. It's okay if the questions don't pop up into your head right away and you leave and you're like, oh man, I should have asked this. That's okay. It's okay. What's not okay is for you to not practice becoming a better question asker. It's not okay for you to stay where you are without practicing and without in day to day, a significant other, person at the grocery store. Try to ask that extra question, because if you can start to do it when it's inconsequential to your business, you'll also be able to ask more questions when it is consequential to your business. So the fact that you missed these, it's fine. It's not a big deal. This isn't a smackdown being like, oh man, you messed up. That's not it. Number one is he only had 13 minutes. He was at work, so you couldn't. Okay. But I want you to sit down, list off as many questions as you can that you might want to ask this person.
Mhm.
And just list them out. And next time you have a conversation, try to get a few of them answered. Don't go down your list and ask all of them, but try to get a few of them answered. And the answers that you give, just be really curious. Okay, can you tell me more about that? That's a statement that might as well be the best question in the world. People many times are going to open up and they're just going to start sharing, and you'll get 15 questions answered without you even having to ask them. But I want this person to kind of open up and give you a little bit more of the story so that you can develop your game plan when you go to the brother.
Mhm.
Yeah, the only thing is now you're going to have to do with two people, and that gets significantly more complicated.
Sure.
So yeah, you want to make sure, like Tim said, the financials are proper, correct, where there's enough money in the deal. And you want to make sure that at least the goal is the same, where everybody wants to get the property sold. But like I said, I relive these conversations, and all the time I'm like, oh, I should have asked that question. Oh, you know what I mean? Like the most important thing, again, that takes it from luck to skill, inconsistency to consistency.
And I'm going to say one more thing. Let's say that the brother does not play ball. Okay. If your administrator has authority, they have their letters of testamentary, they have their letters of administration, the court is on board. The court many times will circumvent what the brother is not doing. So let's say the brother is holding everything up. The court could say, hey, this needs to happen. You need to bury your father. You need to do this. You need to sell the house. And the person that is cooperating, that has the letters administration or the letters testamentary, they can unilaterally do a lot of this if it's set up properly and with the court permission, without you having to get in with the brother. Now, I want you to try to have a conversation with the brother, but if he's not cooperating, the court can sort of force things to go the way they need to go. Okay. So you're probably talking to the person that you need to talk to, even if you can't make a breakthrough in that relationship.
But these are great situations. Again, the more you get into these type of situations, the more easily you'll figure them out and be able to get through them and have more confidence again, I mean, that's all it's about, just getting multiple situations as often as you can, and then you could just, oh, I've done this 5 times before, and
Mhm.
then it just becomes so much easier. So then you can, increase your volume or teach other people how to do it as well. So,
Yep.
you know, good for you for taking this on.
Absolutely. The other thing I was going to say, make sure that when you talk to the attorney, if you do have that conversation, that we talked earlier about mediation services. It's also, I'd look the attorney up, look him up online, him or her online, and you may find that that attorney also offers mediation as part of their practice, because there are a lot of attorneys now that are beginning to offer that, particularly attorneys that specialize in family law. That becomes a part of a practice specialty. It's very popular that that's the case. So that's another thing to kind of look into to make sure that's happening. Hey, before we forget this, because I was reminded about this earlier, we said we'd like to hear wins of the week and ideas of the week. And I forgot to mention that last week, Angela McReynolds was our win of the week last week, and she'll be getting $100 off her next leads or mailing. And we wanted to make sure she's not here today, but wanted to make sure she knew that, so that if you guys have a great win you'd like to share, we'd love to hear it. And we certainly like to hear those in addition to just questions. And if you've got a great idea, that you think would benefit everybody on here, please definitely share that with us. Had one other quick question that came in that I wanted to kind of, we always think it's kind of obvious, so we don't try to make these a sell fest every time we do it. But somebody asked, they said, I'm in a marketplace, and I'm trying to find a way to reach out to the right people, to executors of the estates. And I'm told that buying lists is a good way to do that. So obviously they're not one of our customers. And I think it's always appropriate to kind of tell you, this is an all the leads call, and it is certainly what we do for a living. We feel like we're the very best in the business at providing very actionable real estate leads in markets like this, where people are in transition for probate, pre-probate, divorce. We're getting ready to trot out an aged expires program that we think is exciting, and we're growing the aspects of the business that we do. And then we don't just sell the leads, we sell it as a system. We provide the marketing for you. We provide mailing services. We literally are a full-blown print shop, and we'll do any kind of short-run press for you to get your mail out. We help you get that done. Obviously, this is one of the things we do every week, this call, and we have lots of training and support and a large staff of people that do this. We don't just gather the leads and put them out. We augment them, make sure they're deliverable. And I'm not going to get too deeply into that, but certainly if you're not a subscriber, you should be, because that's the best way to get this information and get the things that you need to grow your business and literally focus on it. And we'll help you get it on autopilot, so you spend your time doing what Coley's doing, talking to people that can hopefully be the person that's going to help you move forward to grow your business. So certainly we're your best source for this, and we definitely want to hear from you about that as well. And just hop on our website at allleads.com, and we'll be happy to work with you. And you can do that. You can find numbers to talk to. We have an online chat. If you don't want to talk, you can text in and get that done as well. TJ, I see your hand up there, bud. Unmute yourself and let's hear what you have to say.
Hey, yeah. So I have a win that kind of fits along the lines of team building for sure. I've really only been like seriously focused as my niche on probate since the beginning of the year. So it's been about 3 months. I've had one closing already, which is amazing. And as far as building a team, like I'm still building a team. I don't think it ever stops really, but I just say that I can get things done, and then I go find somebody to do it. That's kind of how I've been building the team. And a win from that is actually, as a side note, my transmission went in my car. It was an old car, so I sold it to like a junkyard. But the guy that was driving the tow truck to come pick it up, we were chatting, and to come find out his dad had just passed, and he left a farm in in rural part of Georgia. So I told him, like, hey, I actually help people, sell real estate through probate and through an state owned. I forget exactly how I worded it, but it was a natural conversation. And but I had the confidence, this is a little nod to all the leads. I had the confidence to talk to him about it, send him to my website, and then direct him to my attorney that I've built a relationship with as part of my team. And he mentioned that there was farm animals that he really couldn't afford to take care of on the farm. And so we're really out without thinking about it, just because I know that in the past I've found people that I need to help me help. I told them like, well, we'll find somebody to help, help either take care of the animals or get the animals off the farm. Like we can figure that out for you. So kind of like and I could see, this is my favorite part of doing probate, when you can visibly see stress leaving someone's body and leaving someone's face. I mean, that's a solid gold right there. So it turned out that I didn't have to, the neighbors are taking care of the animals right now. And I'm going down there to meet him at the property on Saturday. So I'll find out more about the animals and stuff like that. But it looks like I may not even have to find somebody to take care of animals. But it is where I am, I'm in between like rural Georgia and Atlanta. So I get both worlds. So it is something, that now that I've come across it, I'm certainly going to find somebody that may be able to help me. Whether I need it in the future or not, I'll still have that in my back pocket. So just wanted to share that.
Awesome story, bud. That's
Yeah.
great.
Thanks.
That's really great. And it's the fact that you felt comfortable talking about it and stepping up and saying, yes, I can. I mean, that's the best thing in the world. That's great. I'm glad you have confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. There's a lot of it has to do with these masterminds and just, saying yes, saying yes with knowing that you'll be able to Google or figure something out or use your network.
Yeah, when you're in action, it's easier to stay in action and you just think quicker, right?
Mhm.
And you're meeting a lot of these people that they're not in action. They probably haven't run a business and then they've lost somebody. So that is kind of paralyzes them. And all you got to do is, like you said, just have the internal confidence to know that you can solve whatever problems that they have. Great job.
Yeah, no kidding. And the main lesson there is, don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. Bruce talks about this a lot. We've all talked about it. Is you don't have to have a team to have a team. You have a team because you say you have a team, and you have a better shot of having that because you know who to reach out to based on the things we talk about and the directions that we tell you to, here's where to go find the people you need to go find. And if you run into something where, where do I find, whatever it is, a farm appraiser, a livestock appraiser, any of those things, if you can't get the answers handy and you need some help, I mean, call our support team. That they'll take any kind of question you have and they'll surface it up to one of us if we can help you or we'll point you in the right direction. So if there are things that we can help you with that don't seem like they'd maybe be such logical things we'd normally do with. I know Bruce loves to deal with animals, right, Bruce?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
My-
I can do
my-
that.
My cynical side thought you were going to say you invited all your customers to a pig roast this weekend and don't take care of the animals, but you didn't go there.
Well, and I was hoping that my wife wasn't walking by because if she heard farm animals going someplace, she'd want to know what they were and how far away they were so we could go pick them up. So
While we're on it, TJ, Sky just asked a message. He said he's so impressed. You've only been doing this 3 months and you sound like a pro already. Yeah, he's just getting started. What would be the one tip you would give him just getting started? Is there one thing or is it many?
TJ's on mute. Hold on.
Unmute yourself.
Unmute. There you go.
There you go. Man, I would just get into action. That's all. I mean, I've done I do a little bit more digging in and research more than I should probably. I've been one of those people that was never ready to take action until I'd say a few years ago. And now it's really but you don't need to know everything. That's how I'm going into it. You don't have to know everything. I've been doing real estate for a while, so I understand what it means, how to market a house, how to list a house. What I already have a team really when it comes to a team of vendors when it comes to like a septic tank people and even clean out crews and things like that. So I already have a lot of the team built, a network built. So really adding like probate is just another layer on top of it. And what really was the catalyst, like I started telling everybody, like, this is my niche. Like my probate is niche. This is what I do. I'm the founder of Probate Property Advisors, which is what my website's named. And then from that, people will be like, the ears will perk up and they'll be like, oh, that's what happened with my closing attorney. She's like, well, I do about 25 probates a year. So if that's your niche, then you're our guy for probate. And then, other things just come up. And plus it's a lot easier to talk to people when they ask you what you do. Like every real estate agent's like, oh, I'm a realtor, I sell houses, or like kind of a very bland answer. When you're doing probate, when you niche down into probate, you can say, well, I help people transition, when they're with a estate transition, when somebody's passed or they're going through the probate process. I'm like a one-stop shop to help people then take really some of the stress off of them. And
TJ, go ahead, I'm sorry.
As the conversations you get into, like, people are much more intrigued about you doing that than they are about you being a real estate agent.
Right.
100%.
Like, oh,
I was
great.
going to say,
One.
as a real estate coach, I was asked all the time, what's the biggest mistake agents make? And I always say it's wanting to know everything before they do anything. Yeah. It's much easier to steer a moving vehicle. You've done that's exactly what you've done. So great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I still feel like I haven't done enough, but I mean, that's just part of, living in the gap in the game, so to speak.
Yep. And Sky said, thank you.
I tell by what you're saying, if you've just been focusing on this for 3 months, we're going to hear a lot of good things from you in the future, because you're going to rock this. You're already reaching out and building a web of people that are going to help you get this thing done. We'll call you Spider-Man. You're building a great web.
I want to throw a quick answer out to Sky's question as well. Like, what's the one thing, if you asked 50 people that were successful in this, you'd get 50 different answers. And I think that TJ said this. I'm surprised he didn't bring this up as his one thing. But it's the words, I can do that. I can take care of that for you. Okay. And you better not say it. At least you better not hear me. Let me hear you saying it if you're not a person of your word. Okay. But if you're a person of your word, say, I can take care of that for you. Okay. I need the house painted. I need to find something with the farm animals. I've got this antique vehicle sitting here and it doesn't run. Okay. Whatever it is, I can take care of that for you. Okay.
I think somebody got elected president with that. Yes, we can. Yes, I can.
Right.
Yeah. Good job.
I think
that's a military thing. Can do. I think that's the Seabees code. Can do, whatever it is, can do.
Think about it. Think about it like this. It's real simple. If it was your responsibility, if it was your job, if you owned that farm, somebody had handed it to you, you wouldn't have a choice. You'd have to find somebody to take care of that. You'd have to find somebody to do the painting, cut the grass. So you can do it. It's just a matter of, are you willing to put in the time to get it done? And the more you do it, you're building muscle memory. The brain's a muscle in some respect. You just know how to handle it. Whatever it is, what buttons to push. Who you've dealt with before. Who will support you in the community to do the things you need to do, and they're going to be part of your team as you grow. And we haven't had time today. We've already, we jammed through another hour really quickly. But the thing about building a good team of people like this is that ultimately and I think maybe we'll devote some time to this in the future. We'll talk about how to get that team to not only work with you, but to also market with you and help you defer some of your marketing expenses, how to build programs that really put that team together and make all of you function almost as a network, a professional, leads network, because you could be sharing leads with your contractors that don't just come from your real estate business. If you are all talking about other things that you do together, there are lots of things that you can make work like that and help build those relationships. David, I see your hand. We'll get to you, and we're close to the top of the hour, so this will probably be our last question. Go ahead and unmute yourself. What you got?
Hey, good afternoon, Tim. Can you hear me?
I hear you fine.
Hey, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to ask this in this group, but I literally just got off the phone with a lady who needs help getting a property sold. She has it under contract already at the title company with her seller. I just don't have like a JV contract or any documents to do a JV deal. Am I able to ask for help in this group from anybody if they have like a JV contract?
I would put
Anything you
your
want.
phone number
Okay.
in. I'd put your phone number in and because I don't know who in this group has arrangements like that. Um, because we've got some folks that probably have never done that, don't even know what it is, and some folks that are seasoned pros at it.
Okay.
I drop that, and then also if you don't get a call or text or something on that right away, I would go to the All the Leads Mastermind Facebook group and drop the same question there.
Okay. Thank you, Bruce. I appreciate you.
Yeah, a couple other things. If you don't get answers there, have you ever, and this is, back to AI, have you ever used Chat GPT?
No, but I'm definitely planning on trying to use it.
Yeah,
Well,
and Chris just dropped her phone number in the
Okay.
chat for you as well. So call Chris.
Can you see
Okay.
that, David? You can see in the chat, right? Chris's phone number?
Yep. Yeah, it just
Okay.
popped up. Thank you, Chris. I
Perfect.
appreciate you.
All right, and Chris has lots of experience and can certainly help you.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate everybody.
No, it's great. Thanks for asking the question. And to your point, nothing's off limits here. There's anything that anybody ever has, happy to, help you do that and help you answer any questions you've got. Thanks for asking.
Okay. Thank you. God bless.
You bet. Guys, we've crept up to the top of the hour here. We've got a couple of minutes left. If anybody wants to pop their hand up to ask a last minute question. If not, we're not going to keep you. It's been certainly a interesting session, as they always are. They always take on a life of their own, and every time we sort of start off on a particular topic, it always branches into wonderful things, and that's the great thing about these calls. We enjoy doing it. We've got good people here that are all willing to pitch in and help at all times, and we really appreciate it. So that's kind of where we're at. Last call for questions. If nobody has one, Jimmy, I'm going to kick it to you and let you take us out on time for once.
Sounds good. Yeah, I was going to say we'll take anything here, even complaints, but we rarely get one. So I guess I was going to say we're doing something right, but I think it's a group effort. Like people like Chris jumping in when anybody needs anything. It's a very sharing, helpful, cooperative group. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Want to particularly thank Craig and Coley and Robert and TJ and Sky and David and Chris and everybody who actively participated. I want to challenge each of you. We had some great ideas on the call. Just take one thing that inspired you, go out and put it into practice, and please come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Great call, everybody. Same time next week. Take care.
TJ, I want to hear about those animals next week.